Tonight, the St. Lucia national who went on a hunger strike after being sent to state quarantine has been let out. National Security Minister Herman Gil-Francis speaks after his grandson lands himself in hot water with French authorities. And the Senate President interrupts an interview with an opposition senator to chide the media about COVID-19 protocols. The details of these stories and much more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Thursday, the 26th of November, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The woman at the center of a protocol breach controversy at a hotel in Ancillary is in celebration mode. Amelia Andrew was sent into state quarantine for 14 days last week following an incident which she says was no fault of her own and has maintained that she was being held against her will. On Wednesday, she was sent home 7 days shy of her full 14-day stint. She gives Hot 7 TV an update on her current situation and speaks on what she has taken out of this ordeal. Rochelle Gonzalez begins our reporting.
Amelia Andrew, the woman who was sent off to quarantine last week following a case of protocol breach, is counting her lucky stars after she was released and allowed to go home to Canaries on Wednesday. Hot 7 TV reached out to her for an update, and she said although there are conditions to her release, she is just happy to be free. However, her freedom is where the happiness ends. She says she is not happy about the fact that she is still in the dark on the situation of which she was embroiled, a situation that should have never happened in the first place.
I'm very happy to be back home. I have been released with a condition of a 7-day home quarantine. I have not received an answer to where I may have been exposed. They do not know. I have not yet received a refund or an apology from TCAI. The whole event has caused defamation of my character and just put added stress on top of the stress I already have. I never gave in and I stood my ground because I never received any answers, because nobody could justify why I was unlawfully placed in quarantine other than the punishment because I made a mistake which could have been rectified before I got checked in by hotel staff whom are up to date with protocols.
Andrew questioned the national protocols and the tactics used to implement them.
The protocols the government are imposing should not be greater than the pandemic itself. When you impose such restrictions to the nation, whom is taking care and how will it impact them financially, emotionally and psychologically? Why are there wardens being employed but not a team of persons going around making sure the nation is being fed and taken care of and the children have enough to occupy themselves? Check on individuals within the community to see how they're doing and boost the citizens' morale. I have experienced treatment firsthand, and now I shall do my best to help those who are in need in any way I can and encourage every community to do the same. Check on your neighbour, the old widow that may live alone with no family. Check to see if she needs shopping, a hot meal, or even a chat within a safe distance.
Andrew said the ordeal is not over for her, as she will be seeking justice through the appropriate action. She said, quote, "When law becomes tyranny, rebellion becomes duty," end quote. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
National Security Minister Herman Gil-Francis has washed his hands of an incident involving his grandson who was rescued at sea by French customs from a boat bound for St. Lucia. Francis says just because he is the National Security Minister, that does not mean that his grandson should get any special treatment. He says he is simply not above the law.
On Wednesday evening, it was revealed that the grandson of National Security Minister Herman Gil-Francis was one of 5 St. Lucian nationals rescued off the west coast of Martinique after encountering problems at sea. The men who were rescued by a French customs boat are currently cooperating with the French authorities. The minister was asked on Thursday whether his position could be used to influence the handling of his relative's predicament. This was his response.
I don't have anything much to say. Is that I know for a fact his mom called me the day before, very frantic, and telling me that her son was in Martinique. I had no idea that he was in Martinique and that he had asked her for some top-up. So she sent him the top-up and she was in contact with him. And then he insisted that he was coming to St. Lucia. She advised him against it. but he did his own thing, and he'll have to face the consequences.
Of course, as National Security Minister, you're the detractors. The critics will point at you as a former police officer and National Security Minister. What will you say to them?
Well, I said this is my grandson. I'm not going to deny it. He's my grandson. He doesn't live with me. I don't know when last I saw my grandson. And if people want to say that maybe because his grandfather is the minister, so be it. But I'm not going to get involved with whatever action is going to be taken against him. He has to stand on his own.
Francis said there are collaborative works ongoing to lessen the issue of illegal transportation between St. Lucia and the French Sister Isle.
We have an MOU now with the French. Okay, so every Tuesday morning I speak to them, and they have increased their patrols. The very same thing that you mentioned with my grandson. It was a collaboration between the French and St. Lucian authorities. Although none of us actually found him, it was a passing ship that got him. But we have this cooperation going on right now.
The government of St. Lucia has stated repeatedly that illegal backdoor entry into the country from COVID-ravaged Martinique is one of the island's biggest hurdles in the fight against the deadly disease. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
On Thursday, the Ministry of Health received confirmation of 3 new cases of COVID-19. This brings the total number of cases diagnosed in country to date to 238. Case 237 is a 46-year-old non-national who is a crew member on the cargo ship which had recorded cases of COVID-19 1 week ago. The individual had been placed in quarantine on the ship after being assessed and tested for COVID-19. The other 2 confirmed COVID-19 cases are St. Lucia nationals. Case number 236 is a 26-year-old male from Grosley. Case number 238 is a 5-year-old male from Grosley. Anyone experiencing flu-like symptoms should avoid gatherings and close contact with other people. Instead, medical care should be sought immediately at the closest respiratory clinic, where an assessment will be conducted and any required testing and treatment will be done. While St. Lucia continues to record COVID-19 cases, Health Minister Mary Isaac says she is not convinced that the island will see a spike during the Christmas season.
As long as everybody follow the protocols, I do not anticipate a spike, another spike. But if we continue to behave as though we don't have COVID, and that, because we are seeing that most of the people most of the positive cases now are coming out of the quarantine population. We must not let our guard down. We must continue to follow the protocols.
The health minister says St. Lucians simply need to take heed of the advice by officials, and the number of cases of COVID-19 will be under control. Stay with us. Still to come, the Senate President and the media clash. The Education Minister announces that the former George Charles Secondary School is earmarked to house the Ministry of Home Affairs. But the Home Affairs Minister is clueless. And are free laptops to students too little, too late? Find out after the break.